Alright, shalom, shalom. I want to give all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shah. Yahweh is the Heavenly Father, and Yahweh Shah is the Son of the living power, the Messiah, which these are the true names of the Most High and His only begotten Son in the ancient Hebrew tongue, and Lashon Kodash, which means holy language. I want to give divines to the elder apostles, a great millstone, and peace and blessings unto the elect. And salute Shalom to the fellow laborers pushing His truth, right, and Lord willing, this lesson's edifying. Which in this lesson, I'm gonna be touching on a few things, probably two main topics. But the first part, I wanted to touch on, judgment, right, and on basically the operation of the Lord's hands, right, because in these last days, perilous times shall come, right? The Lord shall bring evils upon His place, and not only upon America, but upon the earth, right? Great perils and plagues, great destruction, and at the end of the day, the Lord is not going to show partiality, if you will. The Lord is not going to show favoritism, in a sense, right? The Lord is not going to care if you rich or if you poor, if you at the top, if you at the bottom, if you a man or woman. The Lord is not going to respect persons. The Lord is not a man that He should respect people, that He should respect persons, man. You know what? That He should be a pleaser of men. And basically what inspired me to do this lesson, because I was, watching the elder Ramlab, Lord will I'm saying his name right, but the elder apostle, and he was holding camp with some other brothers, and he basically speaking on these females, man, speaking on how and these females is going to suffer a great deal, man. It's going to be in pitiful case, if you will. And I would just meditate on how in this modern day age, in this age, in these last days, the modern woman, they hold everything to their to their beauty, man, or to their charm, if you will. Like, that's their everything, right? Their beauty, their charm, that's their everything. They get everything through that, And I would just meditate on how, the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, He's not a man that He should care about those things, that He should respect those things. He's not a man that He should consider those things, man. Right? Because ultimately, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah is a being that searcheth the spirit, that searcheth the hearts and the reins of men. Right? The Lord judgeth not the outward appearance of people, but the inward character, the inward being, the inward man. That's how He measured people. And in these last days, man, the Lord is not gonna what's the word? It's not gonna go easy upon females. And it made me think about basically the strength of woman. The strength of woman that has been displayed throughout ages. What is the strength of woman? I'm gonna go into that in this lesson. Right, and Lord willing, this lesson's edifying. And this is all for edification, to understand Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah and understand what type of power He is. It's the book of Sirach, not Sirach, but First Esdras, chapter 4, verse 29. Now, when you go into this chapter, you had a couple of men gathered together. I think, if I'm not mistaken, amongst the king, You had a couple of men gathered together amongst the king, and they were just speaking about the, different things that are great, such as truth, a woman, or a wine, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, other things as well. At the end of the day, the truth is the strongest of all. Great is the truth, you know, above all things, right? But getting to the lesson, when you go, yeah, that's basically the context of this chapter, right? And one thing that was spoken about was woman, how great is woman, But let's dive into it. This First Esdras chapter 4, verse 29. Matter of fact, let's get verse 28. It says, "And now do ye not believe me? Is not the king great in his power? Do not all regions fear to touch him?" And yeah, that's true. Kings are the highest positions in this earth. Hierarchy has always been in this earth, even in the animal kingdom. Verse 29, it says, "Yet did I see him, and a pain the king's concubine." Let's read it again, verse 29. "Yet did I see him," and he's concerning the king and the woman, right? It says, "Yet did I see him, and a pain the king's concubine, the daughter of the admirable Barticus, sitting at the right hand of the king, and taking the crown from the king's head, and setting it upon her own head. She also struck the king with her left hand. And yet for all this, the king gaped and gazed upon her with open mouth. If she laughed upon him, he laughed also. But if she took any displeasure at him, the king was fain to flatter, that she might be reconciled to him again. How ye, O ye men, how can it be but women should be strong, seeing they do thus?" And we see that, scenario different times, on this earth, man. Females can, do some, off or offend, and they will be let go. They will, they wouldn't, receive consequences like men, right? And I was, meditating on this, thinking about on how the Lord is not going to show mercy or pity towards females, man. Because the Lord is not a man that he should be in awe, The Lord is not a man that he should be in awe of a female's beauty or a female's favor, if you will, charm. Right? The Lord is not a man that he should be in awe of that. Right? The Lord is not gonna show any mercy because you're a woman. And that's the type of power Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is. Right? That's the type of power Yahweh Yahweh Shai is, man. Right, and touch on this. She took the king's crown from his head, smacked him, smacked him with the left hand, or hit him with the left hand. And the king just let that go, which me personally, I don't really mess with that, Right, but every man is different, Some men, like that, but me, I'm not with that. I'm not with the whole female, hitting you and shit like that, Because females, they do some, and that's another thing in this lesson as well. Again, females, that's all they have. That's their power, if you will, their beauty and their charm. Right, and they get everything through that beauty and charm. They get away with things through that beauty and charm. Right, but in these last days, that's not going to help them, man. Because ultimately the Lord is going to bring disgrace and dishonor and shame upon the female, man. Upon the woman, especially the Black, Latino, Native Indian woman, man. That's been proud and haughty and lofty in these last days. Because ultimately, we know it. Females, they get away with certain things more than men. you know, especially in an age where a woman is screaming equality, you know, and speaking against inequality. You know, we in an age where females speaking against inequality, but yet they profit from inequality, if you will. You know, which this is a society that revolves around a woman. You know, that caters to the woman, if you will. Right? This is a queendom. You know, the media, you know, etc. You know, caters to the woman. A woman accuses a man. She's ultimately, the majority is ultimately going to believe her. Why? Because she's a woman. But the Lord is not a man like that. The Lord is not men like that, you know. The Lord have no respect of persons, you know. So I'm you know, dive into this lesson. Let's delete that one. This is the book of 1 Samuel chapter 2 verse 5. Not verse 5, but verse where is it at? 3. It says, "Talk no more so exceedingly proudly. Let not arrogancy come out of your mouth." And that's, you know, the female, man. The female, they speak haughty things. They speak proudly. And they are proud, you know. That's the spirit that they have upon us, a haughty spirit, man. It says, for Yahweh is a God of knowledge, and by him actions are weighed. Right? And the Lord is going to render to every man their actions, man. The Lord is going to repay every man their actions. You know, the Lord's not going to acquit the wicked. Right? The Lord's not going to clear the wicked. And no, not even if you're a woman, man. Right? And when you go into the law, statutes, commandments, the law is holy. But it's harsh. It's severe, man. You know, to speak on one law, there's a law in the law of Torah, in the law of Moses, concerning if two men are fighting and one of the men, female or wives, came up, you know, to help her man, and by, you know, helping her man, she touched the other man's private parts to, you know, stop the man from fighting her husband, or to hinder the man from fighting her husband, then the action that would be done after that would her hand being cut off, man. Right? Her hand would have been cut off according to the law. That's harsh, man. And that's just to show you, hey, the Lord acquit not the wicked, man. You know? It says, by him actions are weighed. You know? So we live in a society where females, you know, get away by their beauty and their charm. You know, they don't receive consequences of their actions because of their beauty and their charm. Right? But hey, that's gonna change, man, in these last days, man. Because ultimately, the Lord is gonna make it so. The Lord is gonna bring a great change, such as famine, martial law, World War III, civil disorder, chaos in this country, to the point where the female is gonna be without helper. Female is gonna be low, you know. You know, females, you know, that have children, they're gonna suffer as well, because a lot of children are gonna die, and that's the time we're coming into. You know, captivity. You know, martial law. Right? We live in a time when the Lord is going to bring hell upon a female. You know? And you can see that as what the Lord basically abasing the proud. Right? Those that are lifted up will be abased. Right? And who are those that's lifted up? The so-called white man. right, which is the devil that the Bible speak of, and Eve, the woman, man, right? Because those are the two most proud on this earth, Esau and Eve, man. The scripture speaks about woman being ravished, meaning raped. That's prophesied in the Bible, man. And these last days, when all hell break loose, when Jacob's troubles come, the female is gonna be ravished, man. Soldiers, by soldiers, a lot of death and destruction is gonna come upon this place, And this just to show you how the Lord is, man. This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 16, verse 7. It says, "But the Lord said unto Samuel, Look not on his countenance, or on the height of his stature, because I have refused them. For Yahweh seeth not as man seeth." So the Lord don't see as man seeth. The Lord don't see as man seeth. It says, "For man looketh on the outward appearance." And we are visual creatures. We see, man. And we sometimes consider what we see. We see a person, just by appearance. We have our first impressions, right? But the Lord, he don't really, he's not really like that, because if you see a person, you first meet a person, a woman, or somebody, whoever, you receive your first impressions through what? Through that person's appearance, through your sight, if you will, through your perception of your eyes, man. But the Lord is somebody who, weigheth the spirit. It says, "But Yahweh looketh on the heart." And it tell you in the book of, I think, Sirach, wickedness is but little to the wickedness of the woman. So a woman is far, in a way, the woman can be much much more wicked than a man. Especially in this age, man. So the Lord's not going to show pity to the woman, man. I think that's something that females need to understand, need to acknowledge. Especially you sisters in this truth, man, in this faith. Right? Just because you're a woman, the Lord is not going to show more favor to you because you're a woman. That's la'ah. That's a no, you know? You know? Remember what Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai did to Jezebel, man. That lady Jezebel, man. She got ate by dogs, man. And who you think orchestrated that? The Lord did. The Lord orchestrated that. The Lord planned that. The Lord probably planned that before her birth, man. Why? Because the Lord is omniscient. Before the earth was created, the Lord knew what was going to happen after, man. The Lord knows everything, man. He omniscient. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 39, verse 9. It says, verse 32, verse 9. It says, "Rise up, ye women," and this is the Lord's warning, man, towards the woman. Especially not especially, but towards the Israelite woman, man. The so-called Black, Latino, Native Indian woman. It says, "Rise up, ye women that are at ease," right? Because, like I said, it's a society in the world that caters to the woman, man. And being in a society, a woman, of course, a woman's going to be at ease, without care. without fear, man. Have a false sense of security, man, in this society, especially in this country. Where the government helps. You don't need a man. Where the government helps. You know, you can lean on your beauty, to get what you want. But in these last days, man, ain't no leaning upon your charm and your beauty, man, for safety. Cause few things, and like, and I say this, the Lord's about to bring change, an uncomfortable change, especially to America, Babylon the Great. You know, you know, now is the time when your house is filled with groceries, but it's gonna come a time when you're gonna be lacking. You're gonna be without food, man. Famine. Right now you have a sense of security, but it's gonna come a time when you're gonna be without security. You're gonna be without an helper, because it's prophesied men is gonna be dying in wars. Right? It's gonna be a drafting, World War III, and a lot of men is gonna die with war. So females is definitely gonna be, it's gonna outweigh men during those days, especially more than they do now. It's gonna be a lot of men without, a lot of females without men, man. And that's gonna put them in a more pitiful case. Famine, anarchy, purge, like people killing each other for food, for gain, neighbor killing neighbor for food. What are you females gonna do in that time? It says, hear my voice, ye careless daughters, give ear unto my speech. It says, many days and years shall ye be troubled. So many days and years shall ye be troubled, man. Jacob's troubles. The great tribulation. It says, yea, careless woman, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Meaning what? All the help you receive from the government, food stamps, all that shit, that won't be profitable in these last days, man. When it's famine, man, or when the perils come upon this place. It says, the gathering shall not come. It says, tremble, ye women that are at ease, be troubled, ye careless ones. Strip you, make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. So humble yourself. What that means? Strip you, make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. Meaning what? To humble yourself. To abase yourself. To have a low opinion of yourself because you're really low. Men, we're wretched, man. Humble yourself, man. Right? Because the majority of the females, they're going to die. And only few females is going to get saved in these last days, man. Few. And a lot of the females, they're going to be saved through the man. Through the Israelite man. Some of the females, shall I say, shall be saved through the Israelite man. Because the Lord set it up like that. And you're going to have some females that's going to be saved even without a man, Israelite man. Just throw that out there. This is the book of Micah, chapter 7, verse 10. It says that she that is my enemy shall see it. Right? Those opposers and enemies against masculinity, those females who are against masculinity,
speaking about toxic masculinities. Those females speak against this truth, speaking against this word, speaking against the ordinances of God concerning men being over the man, over the woman. Those females who speak against those things, that natural order, they're enemies of the Lord, and they're enemies of us, men. It says, and shame shall cover her, which said unto me, where is the Lord thy God? Right? Unbelief. Right? Those females filled with unbelief, who scoff against this truth, who mock this truth. Right? It says, mine enemy shall behold her, and now, it says, now shall she, it says, mine eyes, Salaki, I meant to say, mine eyes shall behold her. Now shall she be trodden down as the myrrh of the streets. So, and that's the majority of the females in these last days. They're going to be trodden down as the myrrh of the streets. Meaning what? They're going to be put down. They're going to be put down. So you females that tremble and that fear the word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, repent now and humble yourself. Gird sackcloth upon you. Meaning what? Mentally. Humble yourself mentally, man. Because this world have, program your mind to be proud, man, and to think proudly and haughtily. And the Lord, he abhorreth evil, which that's that first subject we're done on. In fact, this one more, 2 Corinthians or 2 Chronicles chapter 19 verse 7. It says, wherefore now let the fear of the Lord be upon you. And it's including everybody, man. It says, take heed and do it. It says, for there is no iniquity with the Lord our power. Right? There's no iniquity with Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And in fact, when you respect persons, when you're doing judgment, and when you're judging, that's sin, that's iniquity, that's off. You're showing favoritism towards one that is rich, or towards blood, or towards one who's outwardly beautiful, if you will. That's off, man. You're showing partiality in judgment. You're partial in judgment. You're judging the poor more harsh than you judge the rich. That's off. It says, for there is no iniquity with the Lord our God, nor respect of persons. Let's go into that real quick. Partiality, man. Partiality meaning what? Let's look it up. Unfair bias in favor of one thing or person compared with another. And that includes the women, man. The Lord is not going to go easy upon females because you're a female, man. It says, nor taking of gifts. So that first subject, that's the end of the first subject. I actually want to include another topic in this lesson, which is, ultimately concerning famine, which in these last days, the Lord is going to bring famine upon place. Right? You could read that in many scriptures, especially in Revelation chapter 18. The Lord's going to bring famine upon America, which, you have believers, saints in America. And a good question to ask, if you're ignorant, a good question to ask is, how will these chosen believers of God will be fed? How would the elect be fed? How would the chosen be fed when there's famine? Well, we're going, touch on a few things. You know, it's gonna be quick. Which in fact, I'm not even gonna touch on that second subject. I'm just like running on a empty belly. So I'm gonna eat. You know, I'm gonna close this lesson off. I'll maybe make a part 2. You know, I need to eat. You know, cause I'm getting a little lightheaded, right? But yeah, Lord willing, this lesson's edifying. You know, Salakia, forgive me for cutting it short. Right, double honors to the elder apostles, agree most on the peace and blessing unto the elect. And salute shalom to the fellow labor Christians, truth. And all praise and honor and glory be to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Shalom.